Welcome to the podcast, The Next Big Thing. I'm your host, Keith D. Terry, a consultant, a coach, and a serial entrepreneur. Today's conversation demands our attention. We're going to be talking about mental health. Many of us carry weight we do not speak about: quiet suffering, hidden trauma, burnout. They're rising in every community, every family, every workplace. The headlines tell one story, but behind the headlines are real lives, real pain, and real consequences. And today we're going to be confronting that head on. My guest today is Mr. Khalid B. Scott. He's an LCSW. He is a respected clinician, trainer, and a mental health leader with more than 30 years of experience in trauma, addiction, and emotional wellness. He currently serves with the Department of Veteran Affairs and also leads a private practice supporting individuals, families, and couples. Khalid is a proud father, educator, and a decorated U.S. Army and National Guards veteran. Khalid, welcome to the show. How are you?
Keith, thank you for having me again.
Great. Khalid, I gave the audience a high-level overview of your background. I want them to hear the human side. What drives you to serve the people the way you do?
Right. So my background, my mom was a teen mom,
Okay.
and I grew up on the southeast side of Chicago. In fact, my community was called Terror Town, and I was fatherless. And a lot
Okay.
of children in my community were fatherless. And I just remember one of the things that my mom, my grandmother, my aunties, all the women in my village kept saying to me, and I was the first grandchild, right? The eldest. They kept saying, you have to be responsible. You have to be responsible, you
Right.
know, take care of what you're supposed to take care of. And that stuck with me as a young man. And I guess I took it to the next level because not only I'm going to be responsible for mine, I'm going to be responsible for the entire community.
Wow.
So so when I got out the army, I was 20 years old. I went to Morehouse my first semester, left there to go to the Persian Gulf War, came home and finished up college at Chicago State University. And there, when I first started college, I was a computer science major.
Were
And
you? Okay.
yeah, one day I took a class called Psychology of Urban Youth by a wonderful attorney slash professor, Dr. Pamela Hill. And she sent us to the juvenile detention center for a day of observation. By the time I left that institution, that court building at the evening, I saw a Cook County sheriff taking 10 African American boys upstairs to what we used to call the Oddie home or the juvenile detention center. Was right then and there, Keith, I decided I'm going to help those babies. I'm
Okay.
going to help the babies. 32 years later, I'm still doing the work. And it's a part of me. It's my calling, to be honest. God purposely put me in that psychology class, and he let me see, had that vision of those boys going upstairs to jail as boys, right? Could have been me, could have been you, Keith.
Yeah.
And I've just dedicated my life to serving the community. And as of last weekend, I won my 30th social work award, right?
Wow. Okay. Well, that fits you. I'm glad people can hear that. God gave you your calling and you discovered it early on.
Absolutely.
In my opening, I was talking about the quiet storm. You and I met 3 years ago. We were talking about the impact of COVID and the psychological trauma of COVID. What are you seeing now?
Well, that's a eloquent title, A Quiet Storm, but it's not so quiet.
Okay.
Keith, just what, 2 days ago, another African American male committed suicide, a football player, right? 3 weeks ago, my daughter called me. One of her friends, a black male who she graduated with, I took a picture of them at her graduation at Amherst last year. She said, Daddy, he jumped in front of a train in New York. 23 years old. Think about what we were doing when we were 23. We're living a life, right? At least I don't think you was. I know I wasn't thinking about suicide at 23 years old. I was enjoying being a young adult,
Yeah, I was
living
chasing
life.
girls and getting into trouble.
Absolutely. My first car, my first apartment, life as a frat guy, suicide was not nowhere in the vicinity. But to be honest, if you ask a bunch of young people today, it's one of the top things they think about,
So what do
you
you
know?
think is driving the surge?
Right. It's when people ask me that question, I get asked the question a lot, Keith. I said, E, all the above. Life is hitting people real hard now, you know? For us older, people, we have a resiliency about us because we've been through some stuff, right?
Mhm.
We were raised to be survivors. Well, in September 20th, 1984, a television show came on TV. What show was that, Keith? You
You
know.
got me.
Let me say the date again. September 20th, 1984. A show came on TV that changed the lives of Black people.
Was it the Cosby Show?
Let us good times kids know that we could be the Cosby kids.
Yes. Good. Okay, I see your point.
We could go to college, marry a beautiful spouse who's a professional as well,
Right.
have wonderful kids,
Have
you
a
know,
doctor and a lawyer as parents, right?
absolutely. And this was viable. It was real. You know what I'm saying? And I know I wanted to be Theo Huxtable,
Mhm.
and grow up to be Heathcliff Huxtable. And at that time, I was fatherless. So James Evans Sr. from Good Times and Heathcliff Huxtable were my dads. They
Gotcha.
gave me a
Yeah.
framework. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
One taught me to be firm but fair. The other one taught me to be an impactful listener and
Okay.
be easy going and calm, and get to the root of issues. So I ran with that. And that's how we raised our kids. Our kids are soft because they didn't have to go, they don't know what fried bologna
What do you
sandwich
think what do you think is, you're in the room, and so what do you think is driving this softness?
because just what I said, the Cosby Show taught us that everything doesn't have to be a struggle.
Gotcha.
So our kids didn't struggle. My daughter got driven to school from 5 years old to 18 years old in a Cadillac. You know what I'm saying? We had to go to school on a bus. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we thought we made it. We didn't have to teach them the nuances, but the nuances is what got us to be who we are,
And do
right?
you I'm glad we're having this discovery, I call discovery, because I want people to see it from your perspective.
Yes.
Do you think people understand what to do in the struggle?
No, no. And that's why my business is booming now because people thought they had the answer. They thought they had the right interventions and they were wrong. Sitting still in the pandemic for those 3, 4, 5 years, right? It taught us to be still, pay attention, listen, retrospect, review our lives. And we didn't like the picture we saw, Keith, right?
Ooh, yeah.
We I had husbands calling me like, Khalid, I don't like my wife. I had wives calling me, Khalid, I don't like my husband. I had parents calling me like, oh my God, I can't stand that my kids are here with me all day in front of that laptop. Please send them back to the classroom,
Right.
or teachers. But we never got that before because we was always used to the hustle and the bustle. Get up, go to work, do your activities, come home
Okay.
and sleep. Well,
Okay.
this time we were sitting still and really evaluating our lives, and we don't like what we saw. So then that's when I decided to open up my private practice, and I've had a waiting list all 4 years
Oh, where are you seeing the crisis happen the most?
with families, with
Okay.
individuals in those families. So at first, I used to get the calls from wives and girlfriends. Dr. Scott, my husband, my boyfriend, my son, my brother needs therapy. Well, fast forward, Keith, I'm getting men calling me directly saying, I need help because I'm broken. And
Mm,
no amount of buffalo wings, beer, and watching the football games is going to help me. Because
got
that was our men's
yeah.
therapy. But it was doing us no good because we had sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse in our past. Had poor family dynamics like me, didn't have a dad at all. You know, we had our moms who were being abused and we watched it. You know, we had our
Yeah.
communities struggling because they were impoverished. We had poor school systems. So
Yeah.
when you add all of that up, how could we not be broken, Keith?
Boy,
How
that's a
could we
great
not?
when someone says they're stressed, how do you distinguish stress from trauma, burnout, or something more sinister?
Got you. So, as a clinician, this is my Bible, the DSM-5.
Got you.
So, if you come and telling me that you're having a mental health struggle, I go and look at the criteria. If you meet 5 out of the 9 symptoms, then that's your diagnosis.
Got you. Got you.
So how you have people saying, "You know what? I got an uncle who's kinda special, and I think he's bipolar." Well, your uncle needs to come and see me. I open this book. If he meets 7 out of the 9 criteria, your uncle has bipolar. But you just saying it out loud know that your uncle does not have bipolar. Now, he might have some tendencies or some traits, but we gotta do the diagnosis
Got you.
first.
And I think that what you just showed, some people know, but I think many more people need to remember there is guidelines for what you do. And so
Absolutely.
just a couple more questions before we shift focus here.
Okay.
What do you think is the most misunderstood truth about mental illness or mental?
You know what, Keith? We're really educated now because of this little device right here. We got a lot of education. So the assumptions and the stereotypes, they're long gone now. You know what I'm saying? People are really seeing the truth in mental illness. Again, you see a 24-year-old football player who's a millionaire,
Yes.
who has a fiance, who
Yes.
has all the resources, but he still takes a gun and shoots himself. But a year ago, he lost his mother. So, and the signs
I
and
didn't know
symptoms,
that. I didn't know
yeah,
that. Yeah.
signs and symptoms are there. But guess what? He a football player. They're the strongest men in the world in our mindset, right? So we don't pay attention. Oh, he's going to be okay. Or give him a drink. You know, we mask the issues. We mask the issues, right?
For my listeners, just so they understand, when I ask this question about landscape, when you think about the mental health landscape out here, when we met 3 years ago versus now, has it changed a lot?
It's progressive because again,
Elaborate, please.
so what happens is that we are a society that runs on trauma. We are a society that operates on dysfunction.
Hmm.
See, when things are normal, it feels weird to us. We're so hyped on drama and trauma that we have normalized it. We have normalized it. And that's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. We need to be able to be calm, cool, and collected. But we
Ooh,
can't operate like that because
yeah.
every day something's going on.
And then when you throw in, I'm gonna add this additional component. There's craziness coming out of Washington. I
You
mean,
took
there's
it right out of my mind. Right.
and I will tell you, I stopped watching the news
Mhm.
because it's like out of 10 stories, 8 of them are negative. And I just don't want to hear that because it shapes my mindset, puts me in a different kind of mood. So let's go a little deeper into the crisis from a human perspective and experience and identification perspective. How does trauma show up in men versus women?
It depends on the person. So see, we used to do broad stroke descriptions. No, it's very
Okay.
individualized.
Okay.
So the assumption is if a woman is depressed, if a woman has some issues, she's going to be very verbal about it. She's going to go to her village, right? She's going to come and say, "Hey, Dr. Scott, I need therapy."
Yes.
We're so used to men holding it in because the world told us, don't cry about it. Pull up your boots, strap them up, and deal with it.
Now, doesn't the family still do the same thing to boys?
No, no,
Okay.
no, not at all. And see, that's the assumption. So remember, I told you I got mamas, grandmamas, wives, cousins, whatever, calling me. My 17-year-old is sitting in the room playing video games and it's dark in there. I need them to come to the light and get some therapy because we're saying that no more of this. We cannot be passive about this because why? Everybody knows somebody who's committed suicide now.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, I didn't know anyone
Mm-hmm.
until my 33-year-old mentee committed suicide on his
Mm-hmm.
33rd birthday. He was now I'm a social worker. You would think I knew a ton of people who've committed
Yeah.
suicide.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard of stories, but this hit home for me. And since his death, I've been more Black men I know have committed suicide.
Yeah. I
So
hear
it's
you.
epidemic.
I know that pain myself. So, what happens when the trauma goes untreated? Because
Mhm.
I have my assumption that there are pockets of every communities, particularly African American community, that pushes off, social workers, pushes off psychiatry, pushes off mental health. And so when trauma goes untreated, how does it look? What happens?
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Think about when you've been outside, you sat on a bench or you've been on a bus and someone who's having a mental health crisis gets on. It's really scary to see that person, isn't it?
Yeah.
You be like, let me get off on the next stop because I don't know what the person is going to do, right? So again, if it's being unaddressed, that means it makes the society vulnerable, right? So you got people going into schools and shooting up schools, going
Yeah.
into shooting up churches, going into Walmart and you seeing people fighting in Walmart. You know what I'm saying? So it's being activated. And because of this device, we see it in real time now. So now we're on edge, right? We're on edge.
So does the trauma look different in the urban areas versus the suburbs or from a minority perspective in Black communities? How do you look at that?
No, stop. Again, we have to stop trying to compartmentalize it.
Okay.
Trauma hits all of us in a negative way. It stuns your growth. It affects your psyche. You know what I'm saying? Think about how dark it feels now. Go back to when President Obama won.
Yeah.
Remember the night and how wonderful you felt? You felt like you was in Grant Park. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like, oh my God, hope is here. Fast forward to when somebody else won presidency. How did you feel that night?
Man, I couldn't believe it. I was
Absol-
disappointed. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then it's being reinforced every day as some drama and trauma going on from Washington, D.C. How can that not affect us? Are you not concerned that when you go outside, because now SNAP benefits are not in place,
Yeah.
now everybody's going to be robbed? I know people who work at Walmart and in grocery stores. They're like they on guard right now because they are just expecting that people are going to come to steal.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they're hiring security guards
Yeah,
now.
it makes sense. Right. Right.
And
So
then you're doing this during the holiday season,
I
which is
get your
already
point.
a traumatic season for people already. A lot of suicides take place around the holiday season
Yeah.
because people are like, man, this is not going to be a great Christmas or a good Thanksgiving because my loved one is not here because I'm broke, or I haven't worked all year.
So
You know,
are you suggesting that the pressures that cause this, is it internal to the family or is it coming from the outside?
both. It's
Okay.
both. It's
Is
both,
there
man.
is there one from your perspective more weightier than the other?
It just depends on the individual. See, Keith, what affects me may not affect you. You see
That's
what I'm
true.
saying?
That's true. That's
And
true.
it's how you're raised. It's what you've observed, is what you've experienced, right? So, and that when I hear let me give you for instance, when I hear one of my buddies say, Khalid, I'm cheating on my wife, the reason why it affects me because my mom was a mistress. So I don't
I
see the
see.
benefit of infidelity.
I see your
But
point.
other men be like, "Yeah, yeah, rah, 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 do it, brother, do it."
Yeah. Yeah,
But see, my negative impact with it may look different than
I
yours,
see. I see your
but it's
point.
how you take it in. It's how you
Well
take
said, very well said. So then how can families become a safer place for individuals?
that we start being truthful. We start being
Ooh.
transparent. We start opening our mouths and communicating, you know? Every day, like my daughter is grown and in medical school now and has her own apartment. I talk to my child every day. But guess what? People be like, Khalid, you got to talk to Anaya every day. Why not? Why shouldn't I
Yes.
talk to my child every day? Well, she's grown, Khalid. She got her own life. Right, but you mean to tell me calling in at 10 o'clock at night, checking to see if my daughter is okay, a bad thing?
Yeah,
But
I see your point. I see your I see your point. I see. But you mentioned the transparency. I'm part of a you know of a prayer group, and my guys always thank me for being transparent. And maybe it's because I've been through some pain myself. Maybe I've been through counseling. But when I hear you say people should talk and be more transparent, is it because they're seeking a soft ear and a truthful conversation, or a place that they can talk about their problems? Because now sometimes when you're talking, people aren't listening.
again, the answer is E, all the above. We all want to be validated. We all
Ooh,
want to be heard. We all want to be understood that I'm not Superman. I'm not Wonder Woman. I want to take this cape off that somebody put on me or I put on myself because it's dirty. I need to put this cape in the cleaners and let it get clean. And in between time, I need to rest and regroup, right?
wow.
That's when they say, check on the strong people. Why? Because we're so used to carrying the weight of everything, but nobody checks on us.
So that gets me to this next question, because you're absolutely right. People say check on the strong person, the successful person. What kind of internal battles do you think the strong person's dealing with? Because, just because you appear strong doesn't mean that you are.
Absolutely. It's this thing called the imposter syndrome. Though the world may see that I have all of this, my thing is this might be just surface because the world says I have to be this person, but really I'm not. Really, I want to be an introvert. I want to be quiet and calm. People are so used to this persona, this bigger than life thing. Now, for me, this is actually who Khalid is. I'm a extrovert. I'm boisterous. I'm gregarious. And I love that about me. I don't know what it means to be shy. It's weird to me. Shyness is weird. If you on earth one time, live and live big. But that's my thing, but that's what's kept me going. Cause I had to because I was an only child and I didn't have a dad and I grew up in a poor community. So I wanted to know that I was bigger than life, but that's what I needed. Somebody else might say, no, laid back and calm keeps me right. So it's
Okay.
always individualized.
So when we talk about burnout, I work a lot. A lot of people work a lot. You probably work a lot.
Yes,
Burnout's everywhere. What does chronic burnout, do to the brain, and how does it show up? Can you talk a little bit about that?
sure. Well, burnout just doesn't happen overnight. That's number one.
Okay.
Gradual process. You start feeling it a long time ago, but you don't pay attention because what you've been able to do is bypass it because you got so much to do. So when somebody says self care, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go and get my nails done. I'm gonna
Go
go
get a
to,
haircut. Right.
what I'm saying? That's surface self care. The real self care is turning these lights off and turning the TV off and putting his phone down and going to sleep. It's being invited to 3 parties in one day, and you say, "No, I'm not going to none of the parties. I'm just gonna stay home and watch an old black and white monster movie, eat some Doritos, and just relax." It's saying that I've overdone it. I've added pressure to myself because the reality is everything can wait till tomorrow.
Now, are you seeing burnout more pervasive 3 years ago or now?
Well, it wasn't pervasive then because we were shut down 3 years ago during the pandemic. That's why I said the pandemic was good for us. It may not
Yes.
appear, but it was good because it made us slow down. It made us slow down. When the pandemic ended, we revved back up again. And how crazy has things been since?
Yes. It sounds to me like when we slowed down, we got to see ourselves differently. And it was an other problems that came up. Well, let me just say it now. I lost my son in 21 through suicide. And through that pain, I've had to deal with my own self. So how do you deal with it? You talk to people all the time.
Yeah.
And you're in these private conversations with people. So how do you deal with self-care?
Self-care. Well, it's first and foremost. Keith, 3 years ago, I was 320 pounds coming out of that pandemic, and I'm a cancer. I'm emotional, and I'm an emotional eater. So when I'm
Okay.
something, I turn to the Doritos, the M's, the chicken, the pizza. And then when my frat brother, who's my doctor, said, Khalid, you're 320 pounds, brother. You're knocking on diabetes' door. That same day, I went to the grocery store and bought $300 full of fruits and vegetables. 9 months later, I lost the weight because I don't want to be a contradiction. How can I tell you, my client, to go into self care, but I'm not caring for my own self? So I
Yes.
became my own walking billboard of self care
Okay.
because who better, you know what I'm saying, to emphasize it, than a person who God called to help other people.
I'm glad you talked about that. So, and I'm glad you paid attention. I remember seeing you when you were 325. And
Right.
then I think, and then you look up because people get busy. It was 10 months later, you posted something on Facebook, and you are literally half the man you were. I mean, you look
Absolutely.
phenomenal. So you look phenomenal. So as we talk more about the workplace, home, do you see them as both places where people get trauma?
Yes, depending on your situation, right? Let me share something with you. Right now, Keith, I know couples, 39 couples who have divorced, who are divorcing right now. Now that sounds horrible, doesn't it?
It
So when
does.
I talked to the 39 friends and I said, why? You're in your 50s, you're in your 60s, you've been married 25 plus years. Why? Khalid, I should have divorced 10 years ago, but I wanted the Cosby Show life. I didn't
What you
want my
said.
kids growing up in a one parent home like I did, the good times house. So I sacrificed. But guess what happened then? What tragically happened, what the negativity that came from it. Your children watched you and your spouse fighting in that house. They felt the tension.
Go ahead.
And then they grew up, and guess what? Now my friends are calling me saying their daughters are in domestic violence relationships. Their sons are turning to drugs and alcohol. Their kids are saying, Khalid, I need a counselor for my kid. I had to take my child to the psychiatric ward at the hospital because my kid had a nervous breakdown. So see, we thought we was doing something good and staying together, but your kids got a first view of dysfunction and
Got you.
toxicity.
They saw an example of chaos, internal chaos.
Right. Now, let me use me as an example. I got divorced, and yesterday would have been my 24th anniversary,
Okay.
right? Wow. But I got divorced 13 years ago when my baby was 10 years old. I immediately put me and Anaya in therapy, both individual and family therapy.
Well,
8 years later, my daughter graduated salutatorian of Kenwood, number 3 out of 430 students, 4 ride to Amherst in Massachusetts. And now she's her first year of medical school at University of Chicago for free. Because why? She didn't grow up seeing mommy and daddy doing this. Saw mommy and daddy come together as divorced parents, but wonderful co-parents.
that good for you to put your 10-year-old or 8-year-old in therapy. Good for you.
But I'm a clinician, I know better. Everybody doesn't know this. So I do podcasts like what you invited me to do so we can educate people on what to do better now.
And so staying there, if you're a parent and you're looking at your kids, what are you looking for so that I can call someone like you?
You know your children better than any human beings. Why? Because they came from you and
Yes.
you've been there every day. Like they know you. When something is off with you, your kids will pick up on it in a second. When something is off with them, you'll pick it up in a second. Now you could choose to ignore it, but you'll know something is there. The minute you see something off with your child, you have to address it. Why? Because it sets a better tone. It says, mommy and daddy are paying attention. Mommy and daddy care about me and that there's no judgment and that this is a safe space.
For those folks that are not familiar with talking to someone like you, a licensed clinical social worker, is it's a safe place. It's not like
Correct.
you going and talking about what you're talking about because it's classified. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reason why I check on my daughter, because I realize Anaya has put a pressure on herself. She's an academic genius.
Yeah.
And for what I've learned about kids who are academia, they always want to do better than the last time.
Time.
Well, when I heard that suicide rates for medical students, and here it is, my daughter is about to be a medical student. No, I'm not losing mine.
I got
I'm
you.
not losing mine. Tonight, I'm picking her up, taking her out because she had a big test yesterday. I'm picking her up, taking her out to dinner, and she's coming home to spend the night at daddy's house.
There
So
you
she
go. Okay.
decompressed.
Gotcha. One more question on discovery. You talked about what parents can do. What about the grown person who was raised in a family that, oh no, you don't want to go see a psychiatrist or a counselor? Let's talk a little bit about what they should be doing and looking for and how they would enter and talk to someone like you.
Okay, so let's give an example. Keith, let's pretend me and you are best friends. And you know I'm a hyper person, good,
Yeah.
gregarious. But you've noticed when you talk to me on the phone, when we went out for pizza, that I haven't been myself. And then you
Hmm.
say, Khalid, what's wrong, man? You something different going on. Man, it's been 13 years since I've been divorced. I'm kind of lonely now, man. Khalid, can you do me a big favor? And let's do this. Let me pull my cell phone out. I met this therapist, Khalid, and he talks about men issues. Khalid, can I send you? I'm gonna text you Dr. Scott's information. Khalid, go and see a therapist. I'm here. You could talk to me, but I know it might be some things you don't want to share with me. But go and see a therapist, because guess what, Khalid? I didn't tell you because I was acting weird. But Khalid, I've seen a therapist, and man, I love it.
Okay.
See, that's how you show care and concern. And it did not take away from our masculinity, did it?
No, no.
It let us know how much we love each other because I want you to win, brother.
Yeah. That was well done because, you're absolutely right. A lot of men, you have to show up macho. Don't take away my nut sack. Don't, don't decapitate me from that perspective. And I'm old enough to know that there are a lot of men that don't have places where they can truly talk.
Correct.
They feel like, I can't talk to my woman about it. And there are some men that I was with a couple days ago to have that perspective. What's one thing that people can do to create emotional resilience for themselves?
Be honest with themselves and prepare to do the work. Prepare
Ooh,
to do
elaborate on the work part because when I hear that, I think people think it's not, you're not talking about jogging.
no. That might be another prescription later on to do something extra. But the real work says, oh my God, let me hold this mirror up and really look for the freckles, the bumps, the pimples, the blemishes. Because before I just said, no, my skin is beautiful, it's chocolate, it's clear. But no, I do see a pimple here. It's being honest for what is really there. That I sleep with a bunch of women, because, man, I used to be called a nerd back in school and it traumatized me. So I got something to prove. But I hurt a bunch of women. It's, you know what? I joined a fraternity because I was alone. You know what I'm saying? But man, those guys ain't there for me. Maybe I need to build a different village.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or you know what? I've been working this job to pay the bills, but I'm not happy there. You know what? I can do college online and go into another career at 56 years old. That's going to bring me joy. See, I answered my calling at 23. I love the work I do. So
I
it don't
see.
feel like work.
What do you suggest we do to break generational curses? Assumptions that, when I say this and I ask this question, I come from a family that believes in don't talk about it,
Yeah,
put it in the closet.
correct.
And what I recognize now is that we have to break those patterns so that people can talk about it. There is strength in telling your story because you'll be surprised that other people are going through the exact same thing and they might be doing it differently, and it gives you some strength. Do you see it the same way?
Right. Well, the thing is, naturally, we are breaking the curses. Keith, what me and you are doing right now, our dads wouldn't have done. Our grandfathers sure wouldn't done, and our great granddads wouldn't even thought of it. Right? We're
Yeah.
sitting about talking about men issues in our hearts and our minds and and our tragedies and traumas. Right? So we work now. Keith, both of us married, been married. We don't have, well, at least I don't know your history, but I don't have multiple kids by multiple women like my
No, I
dad.
don't.
See, we are breaking the generational curses already. We're highly educated. You know what I'm saying? My dad had a high school diploma. My daughter's going to have a my mom was a high school dropout, but she got a granddaughter who's going to be a doctor in 4 more years.
Yes.
We're doing it. We're doing the work. We're doing the work.
Well, do you think we're rare?
No, we are progressing like we should. We are progressing. And again, that's why I talked about the Cosby Show. That was the best example of how we
It
had
was.
one mentality and we went to another one. When that show was on TV and then the spinoff show, A Different World, guess what happened, Keith? More Black people enrolled in college than at any other time before
You're
then.
absolutely right. Yeah.
We just need to see an image of us being there.
Okay.
That's it.
And are there tools that people can use to help with anxiety or some of those things? I mean, for me, and I'll use my example, when I feel like I have a lot of pressure,
Mhm.
stress, I'll give one of my good friends a jingle,
Nice,
you
nice.
know, and or I'll call or talk to my wife. But
Yes.
I don't but interesting, I don't talk to my wife about everything.
Got you.
You
Got
know?
you.
And I don't
Got
talk to my friend about everything, and I guess I am trying to get it out of me
Mhm.
is what I'm saying. Is there a recommendation, a suggestion that you can give for people out there other than give you a call? You got a waiting list?
Absolutely. The wonderful thing, even though we keep saying it's not a wonderful thing, is modern technology, right?
Ooh, elaborate.
There's apps on the phone, AI apps for counseling. So you can go into a app and saying, Siri, I'm having a bad day. What can I do to cheer me up? And the AI would come on. See? And it would a response, right? Just holding something that we have in our hand every day. There's movies being made, there's music being played, right? Because we are more educated on mental illness and wellness, now we're being more responsive when our friends call saying, hey, I'm having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? You know, people are making restaurants and library rooms more accessible so that people can get away from the house. You know what I'm saying? So there's things in place right now to help. But at the end of the day, you can have all the devices and utensils. You have to want to do the work.
So then let's talk about that. Let's talk about habits. Are there, what habits and practices do you think emotionally healthy people do versus unhealthy people?
Right. So an emotionally healthy person says, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to look in that mirror and say, there go the pimple. Then they say this, what do I need to do to get rid of the pimple? Right?
Hmm.
Before it was just do this, pop. No, it leaves a mark. Now I'm going to get this cream and put it on and be patient and wait for the pimple to go away naturally so it won't leave a mark. That's what the mindsets are going towards now, that this is not going to be a band-aid effect no more. I have to sit down with a Dr. Scott and talk to him from A to Z what I can't talk to my spouse about, what I
Gotcha.
can't talk to my kids about, what I can't tell my best friend, because at the end of the day, those people have an expectation of me. A therapist, they're unbiased. They know the personal me. They
Gotcha.
know the person sitting in front of them who's trying to be better. I, that's why I can't be friends with my clients because that would make me,
I got you. So then
yeah,
I want to run a couple of things past you.
sure.
And you tell me if you think it's good or bad.
Okay.
Having anxiety, I should go smoke a joint, good or bad.
Bad,
I have an anxiety, I should go have a martini.
bad,
Wow. I'm having a bad day, I should go and, go to a club.
bad.
Wow. This is kind of what I'm saying because people have bad days. And right now, you can drink, you can smoke, and it's all legal. I have friends that say, oh man, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink alcohol, but I smoke. I smoke. And I hear stories because my background's healthcare. I hear good stories. I hear bad stories. From your perspective,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on alcohol and marijuana?
See, I'm a drug and alcohol counselor, been one for 25 years, right? What do you think are the gateway drugs? The
Oh,
gateway drug is one,
marijuana.
marijuana. Marijuana. Marijuana is the gateway. And when I say gateway, it's the beginning, the
Yep.
initial, the orientation drug. And what happens is it gives you a temporary fix, a temporary relief. But what happens is you're going to still deal with the struggle because you haven't gotten rid of it. You just put it on a shelf temporarily, right?
Wow.
So
Okay.
then that high is not good enough no more. Let me try cocaine. Let me try heroin. Let me go and drink. But I don't stop at one beer. I stop at two beers. I need four beers.
Right.
And let me go drive. And then, like when I was 18, my best friend got killed by a drunk driver, right? So what happens is it adds to the toxicity, it adds to the dysfunction. 5 years ago, Illinois said, we're going to make marijuana legal. And they won because the money that came in was going towards the billions. But guess what? Go and talk to a Chicago police officer. Every time he walks up to a car full of kids, soon as before he can get to the car, guess what he smells?
Marijuana.
Marijuana. Because kids are not going to discriminate. They're going to hear it's legal. It's not legal for anyone under 21. And you're
Gotcha.
supposed to get it from a dispensary, not from Tyreek on the corner. But I'm in business. I'm in business and I will always have a job, Keith.
So the impact of both of those on burnout, anxiety, depression is good, bad, or how do you I don't want to get into the clinical component of it, but I'm talking about it from a a lot of people think I need to relax, so I'm gonna go have me a martini. I used to have that thought. Dr.
Yes,
Scott, I used to have that thought,
correct.
and what I recognize is I'm a different person after one drink.
Absolutely. Keith, remember, I used to turn to Doritos with hot sauce on it to unwind. But what did it do to me 3 years later? it got me to 320 pounds.
Got you. Got you.
Didn't solve any problem. It made another problem come to light. Get rid of the Doritos and find other alternatives, right? And that's in a better place. When you look for quick fixes, it means it's going to be long-term problems.
I now recognize that I need to go see somebody. Let's talk about how people should prepare to engage someone like you, because not everybody is Dr. Khalid Scott. Not everybody is that. Not everybody practices like you. How should people engage the mental health community?
Sure, there's many ways. Oftentimes, I'm on Facebook and somebody said, looking for a male therapist in the Chicagoland area. And then what happens is people are tagging my name,
I
right?
see.
I use social media to post a flyer for my private practice. Or Siri, I need a list of Black male clinicians in Chicago. Doodle, and it's right there. Or you
Got
type it in Google and a list comes out. Or because so many of us are engaged in therapy, referrals.
I guess what I was saying, are all clinicians created equal?
No, we are not. Absolutely not. We all have different agendas, different itineraries.
And is there something that I can do when I'm looking for someone?
Sure can.
How should we? I mean, I know how to engage my rheumatologist as an example, because I've gout, right? I know what I'm looking for. I know the kind of physician, but when it comes to this area, what I'm trying to allude to is there a process people should use to uncover great clinicians like you?
Yes, it's called this. Communicate.
Yeah.
I go to you. Um, hey, Dr. Terry, I've been divorced 13 years. I've raised my child, so now I'm an empty nester. And I want to get back out here in the dating life. And do you have a specialty where you work with men and you work with men on relationships? If
I
you say no, okay. Well, do you know any therapists who that's their specialty? Yes, I know a Dr. Scott who specializes in men's mental wellness, relationship issues, spirituality, dot, dot, dot. You just open your mouth. Or again, you type in things. We have no excuses no more. This is not 1972. This is
Right.
2025. Everything is right here.
Well said. My last question do you have one message that you want to give folks before we dial off here today?
Absolutely. And it's a message I give often when I'm doing podcasts. Learn to have the most beautiful, wonderful love affair with guess who? You.
Yourself. Yeah.
Because once you are in love with you, your bar is raised high. Your agenda is steady and consistent.
Okay.
But you got to love you first. And then when you love you with an agape love, it spills over to everybody who knows you.
I want to thank you for joining the next big thing. A huge thank you to Dr. Khalid Scott. Do you want to tell them how folks can reach you?
Sure. I'm on all social media platforms, Khalid Scott. I'm on Psychology Today, so www.psychology today, and type in my name. Google me. A lot of clients have done that. You too. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to The Next Big Thing. I'm your host, Keith D. Terry. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support this podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and a review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on my YouTube channel at Keith D. Terry. If you want to recommend a guest, please email me at info@terryperformancegroup.com. This has been produced by your host and Jade Productions.